Before the emergence of films like The Irishman, The Wolf of Wall Street, or even Casino, Martin Scorsese's criminal masterpiece was at the pinnacle of its time. Among all these films, Goodfellas holds a special place, raising an unresolved question among fans. Did Jimmy plan to kill Karen? What happened between Karen Hill and Jimmy in the alley? The focal point is a 3-minute scene unfolding in a dreary alley during bright daylight. As the film nears its conclusion, Karen, Henry's wife, decides to discreetly visit Jimmy, bypassing her husband. She hopes to secure his assistance during these challenging times when the Hill family is on the brink, and Henry's recent prison sentence has only worsened their situation, turning them into outcasts in the criminal world controlled by Paulie Cicero. During their conversation, Jimmy becomes increasingly interested in the progress of the investigation against Henry and the questions he's being asked. It's evident that Conway is fearful of any connection to his hapless associate's misdeeds, and he's merely probing the situation. Karen asserts to Jimmy that she knows nothing, and ultimately, their conversation leads to Jimmy attempting to persuade Karen to try on a few dresses. Together, they step out onto the street, and Jimmy directs Karen towards an empty store on the corner, closely watching her as she walks down the street and stops in front of the vacant display window. With a deep concern in her eyes, Karen descends the sidewalk and, glancing at the building, notices a few men lurking in the shadows, surrounded by smoke. While Jimmy persistently tries to convince her to enter the store, Karen decides to quickly head to her car, ignoring his insistent pleas. Was Jimmy really going to kill Karen? Henry Hill's internal monologue, piercing through Goodfellas, plays a pivotal role in dotting the I's when it comes to Karen's murder. Without this monologue, Karen's fate could have remained a questionable prospect. However, as soon as we hear the following exposition, it becomes clear that the Hills possess a unique intuition and the ability to discern the intentions of others, otherwise they would talk to the fish. If you're part of a crew, nobody ever tells you that they're going to kill you. Doesn't happen that way. There weren't any arguments or curses like in the movies. See, your murderers come with smiles. They come as your friends, the people who've cared for you all of your life. And they always seem to come at a time that you're at your weakest and most in need of their help. As Karen notices the men working in the room Jimmy directs her to, she accidentally overhears one of them saying, "Put it here! Block the window!" When they notice her presence, the men make a hushed shh sound, trying not to startle her. As Karen moves away, Jimmy's face doesn't display a puzzled expression like, "Why didn't she go for the dresses?" Instead, we see an expression of contemplation and irritation, as if something didn't go according to plan. But that's not all. When Jimmy tries to lure Karen to the warehouse to show her the dresses before she panics and runs, we notice a sign that says, "Don't go," with a pointing arrow towards the warehouse. Furthermore, there's a label on the arrow that reads, "One way." Do you see what I'm getting at? In Nicholas Pileggi's novel, Wise Guy, the plot unfolds differently. Jimmy Burke actually sends Karen to get the dresses he had set aside for her. When she reaches the abandoned store, she notices a familiar man whom Burke used in his illicit dealings, and she leaves the scene immediately. This decision saves her because if she had stayed, she likely would have disappeared. Do you need more proof? Burke discovered that Karen was aware of the Lufthansa heist. As portrayed in the film, he was resolute in eliminating all potential witnesses who could link him to the crime and testify against him. Henry had recently been arrested on drug trafficking charges. Karen was actively involved in this illicit activity and could have accused Jimmy of his role in this enterprise. Organization of match fixing is another aspect not shown in the film in which Henry Hill was involved. Jimmy played a secondary role in this, and he knew that Karen was aware of his involvement in this. During Henry's time serving in federal prison, his wife Karen and Mafia boss Paulie Cicero developed romantic relations, which was not depicted in the film. Ultimately, during the final raid, Henry learns about this affair. It became a reason for him to testify against his boss, who knew about this relationship and likely ordered Jimmy to eliminate Henry and Karen. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to Vano VHS and hit the like button.